and the human slew the beast, and it entered into Beliar's realm.
What do you want? I'm not giving anything away.
Can I sell you some herbs?
If you have any to offer.
I'm looking to become an apprentice.
Really? And with whom are you going to sign up?
I want to sign up with you as an apprentice.
With me? No! I have already had the dubious pleasure once of grappling with an apprentice. That's quite enough for me. I invested several years in his education, and in the end, the poor fool up and poisoned himself. Go sign up with one of the other masters.
What will I have to do to become your apprentice?
I couldn't bear yet another dilettante on my conscience. There is a multitude of herbs out there. Used in different variations, develop the most diverse effects. You probably don't even know half of them. Here. This is a list of the most important plants. Bring me a plant of each kind, and I might reconsider taking you in as an apprentice.
I want to sign up with one of the other masters.
You have come to ask my approval? As far as I'm concerned, you can sign up with whoever you like.
I'm looking for work.
I could use a new apprentice. Brian will have finished his apprenticeship soon, and then he'll leave the city. Are you good for anything?
If you mean, do I know blacksmith's work?
No, that's not what I meant. Sooner or later, the orcs are going to lay siege to the city, and then the only men who will count will be those who are in a position to defend our city. And I won't take on anyone as an apprentice who will disgrace me by fleeing the city with the women and the good-for-nothings, instead of holding the fort here with the men.
I'm not a good-for-nothing.
Those are big words. Can you back them up with big deeds?
What are you getting at?
Bring me an orc's weapon. Orcs have been seen near the city. With a bit of luck, you won't have to search for long. If you manage to bring one down, I'll take you on as an apprentice, provided the other masters agree.
Do you weapons too?
Forget it. Everything I make goes to the paladins or the militia. I have a commission for 100 swords from Lord Hagen. He wants to equip the city guard.
Hey, you, wait. You look familiar to me.
What do you want?
I've seen your face before somewhere, right? Here, we found this picture on some bandits we picked up a few days ago. It looks a lot like you. Apparently, those guys were looking for you.
Gee, I'd never have thought of that myself.
Very funny. What did those guys want from you?
Ask them yourself. You've got them safely locked up, haven't you?
No, they're dead.
I guess we'll never know then.
If you're in some kind of trouble, go talk to Lord Andre. Maybe he can help you. You'll find him in the barracks.
What can I do for you?
What are you selling?
I can offer you everything you need to survive in the wild. Weapons, torches, provisions, even armor. I still have a special piece in stock. Double hardened armor of snapper leather, still unused. Interested?
What do you know about paladins?
Since these bastards have come to the city, I've had nothing but trouble. The last time I was headed for the upper end of town, the guards flat out stopped me and asked me what was my business there.
And?
Of course they let me in. I had my shop in the city when most of those pompous asses were still chasing pigs with wooden swords. And yesterday, the bastards came and confiscated half of my goods.
The paladins seized your goods.
Everything I had stored in the backyard. They simply posted a guard in front of the entrance to the yard. If I'm lucky, they won't take everything. At least they might leave the armor here.
Can you help me get into the upper quarter?
What? What are you going to do there?
I've got an important message.
Well, well. Have you tried getting past the guards?
I don't see why I should even try.
You're probably right. I don't know how important your message is, and it's none of my business. But even if you told them that a ship full of orcs just anchored in the harbor, they'd send you away. Because they have their orders.
So can you help me get into the upper quarter?
It seems to be really important to you. The question is, how important is it to you?
What are you getting at?
I can help you. After all, I'm one of the most influential people here. But it'll cost you.
What are you asking for your help?
100 gold pieces.
You shark.
Take it easy. It isn't your gold I have in mind.
But
in principle, it's my gold. Gritta, the carpenter's niece, hasn't paid what she owes me in ages. But the little brat is constantly running around in new clothes. That means she has the money. I'd like to beat it out of her. But Master Thorben, the carpenter, is also a very influential man. Get me the money and I'll help you.
Where can I find Gritta?
Like I said, she's the carpenter's niece. His house is down the street, the last house on the right before the smithy.
How exactly can you help me?
Quite simple. I'll use my influence to see to it that one of the master craftsmen here takes you on as an apprentice. As such, you'll practically be a citizen of the city and can enter the upper quarter. Besides which, you'll earn something while you're at it.
Where could I sign on as an apprentice then?
Basically, with any master here on the main street. That would be Harrod the smith, Bospa the bowmaker, Thorben the carpenter, or Constantino the alchemist. One of them is bound to take you on. But it's important that the other masters agree. That's always been the custom here in Khorinis.
How do I get the approval of the other masters?
You just have to convince them. Go and talk to them. But if more than one of them is against you, you don't stand a chance, so behave yourself.
Why don't you take me on as an apprentice?
I would, but the other masters wouldn't agree. I just recently took on another apprentice.
Is there another way to get into the upper quarter?
Perhaps. If I think of anything, I'll let you know.
Show me your wares.
Do you really believe that?
Welcome to my shop, stranger. I am Bospa. I craft bows and trade in furs. What brings you to Khorinis?
I need to get into the upper quarter.
Where the paladins are? Forget it. You need to be a respected citizen here, or at least hold a decent job. As a stranger, you stand no chance of getting in.
I'm looking for work.
I could use a new apprentice. The last one just gave up his job 2 days ago. Do you know anything about hunting then?
Well,
I could teach you how to skin animals. I'll pay you well for every skin you bring me.
what if I want to sign on with one of the other masters?
Boulder Dash. Harrod and Matteo already have apprentices. Constantino the alchemist is a loner, and he hasn't taken an apprentice in years. And as for Thorben, everyone knows he's dead broke. He probably couldn't even pay you. I, on the other hand, am in urgent need of an apprentice, and I pay well too. But no matter where you want to sign on, you need the approval of all other masters from the lower part of town.
I want to start as your apprentice.
Before I take you on, I need to know, of course, whether you're any good at all.
What do you want me to do for you?
I will teach you how to skin an animal, and you will bring me, let's say, half a dozen wolf skins. Then I'll know that you have learned your trade. If it doesn't take you forever, and if the skins are in acceptable condition, I will take you on if you like. Or, you can start with one of the other men, if that's what you really want.
Teach me how to skin animals.
Right. Listen. It's quite easy, really. You take a sharp blade and cut open the animal's belly. Then make a few small incisions on the inside of the legs, and you can peel off the skin. Bring me the wolf skins and we shall see.
Why did your apprentice give up his job?
All he said was that it had become too dangerous out there. If you're really interested, then you can ask him yourself. His name is Bartok. He's probably hanging out near Khorinis Tavern. Go through the underpass from the smithy, then you're headed straight for it.
I've heard that someone stole from you.
Who told you that? Probably Bartok, huh? Didn't he have anything better to tell you? Oh, well. Let me tell you, if I get hold of this bastard, he can say his prayers. I left the shop for only a moment. When I came back, I could only just see him leave, with my bow on his shoulder. I called the guards right away, but the lowlife ran towards the harbor, and they lost him there. I lit a bonfire under their asses then, and they searched the entire harbor district. But they didn't find a thing. Those bumbling lackeys. I bet my bow is still in town somewhere. I informed the guards on both city gates, and they haven't seen anyone leave with my bow. When I get my hands on that bastard...
Do you really believe that?
Show me your wares.
I hardly know what to believe anymore.
Is it really true?
That was quite obvious.
It's really not my problem.
He didn't get that from me.
I'm not telling you anything new.
But he knew that all along.
There's nothing you can do about it.
I don't believe this is going to change.
I'm no better off myself.
I hardly know what to believe anymore.
If he doesn't see that, I can't help him.
So why won't they listen to me?
Is it really true?
I can't read that.
You mustn't believe everything you hear.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
Nothing there.
I've heard a thing or two.
Is it really true?
I'm not touching that.
Nobody will learn anything from me.
You didn't get that from me.
Show me your wares.
Is it really true?
That was quite obvious.
Is it really true?
I don't believe this is going to change.
It was obvious all along.
I'm in enough trouble as it is.
Nobody will learn anything from me.
I already thought as much. Ah, fresh face. You're not from Khorinis, are you? This is not a good time for travelers. Bandits everywhere, no work, and now the farmers have risen up too. What winds have blown you here?
I'm looking for work.
Do you know anything about carpentry?
The only thing I can make out of wood is a fire.
And what about locks?
Well...
I'm sorry, but I can't use you if you know nothing about my trade. And I have no money to pay for an apprentice.
What if I want to start an apprenticeship with one of the other masters here?
All right, I shall give you my approval. But you had better get yourself the blessing of the gods first. Say, are you a man of faith?
Yes, a most humble servant, Master Thorben.
Then go to Vatras, the priest of Adanos, and have him give you his blessing. He will tell you where you can find a priest of Innos. You should get his blessing too. Once you have received the blessing of the gods, I shall vote for you.
It's not what I heard.
I've come about Gritta.
My niece? What's your business with her? This isn't about money, is it?
She owes 100 gold pieces to the merchant Matteo.
Tell me this isn't true. Ever since that little piece of work moved in with me, I've had nothing but trouble. She's in debt with practically every single merchant in town. I had to borrow 200 gold pieces from Lamar, the moneylender, just to settle her debts. And now this. Gritta should be in the house. Go ahead, ask her. But I tell you this, she doesn't have a single gold piece.
We shall see. What do you know about the Paladins?
Not much. They arrived by ship 2 weeks ago from the mainland. Since then, they have withdrawn to the upper town. Nobody here really knows exactly why they have come. Many are afraid of an attack by the orcs. I suppose, however, that they are here to quell the farmers' rebellion.
I agree with you completely.
Do you know anything about the Peasants' Rebellion?
Rumor has it that Onar, the landowner, has hired mercenaries to keep the king's troops from breathing down his neck. He was probably tired of having to throw his harvest along with his livestock at paladins and militia. All we notice of this in town is that the food prices keep rising. Onar's farm lies far to the east of here. We wouldn't know if there's any fighting going on there. And if you want to know more, ask the merchants in the marketplace. They get around the island more than I do. You didn't get that from me.
Have you had an apprentice before?
Yes, and not too long ago.
And what happened?
His name is Elvrich. He's my nephew. I was quite pleased with him, actually, but one day he simply didn't show up for work.
Where is Elvrich now?
How would I know? He kept hanging around that filthy brothel by the harbor. I wouldn't be surprised if he's still warming the bed of some whore down there.
How long has it been since you saw him?
I guess it must be about 2 weeks.
It was obvious all along.
Have you reported that to the militia?
Of course I have. They were supposed to catch him and see to it that the Lazy Bones does his work, but I already regret that. He can do whatever he wants. Sooner or later he'll realize he'll get nowhere in Khorinis without a decent job.
Is that so? So, you know a lot about locks.
What's a fine chest without a fine lock? I make my own locks. That way, I can at least be sure I haven't built my chest that sturdy for nothing. A poorly made lock is easy to break. And there are plenty of thieves about in Khorinis, especially lately.
I'm no better off myself.
Hey, you!
What do you want, stranger? If you've come to beg, I must disappoint you. I am a poor widow. My name is Gritta. Ever since my husband died, I have been running the household for my uncle Thorabin.
Matteo sent me. You still owe him some gold.
He wants his money? What for? The goods he delivered were flawed, bad fabric, and bad seams. And did you look at the colors? Those are not the colors I ordered. That's fraud, that is. Let me tell you, back when my husband was alive, he wouldn't have dared to do that. Oh, my poor husband.
Cut it out. Where's the gold?
But I don't have the gold. I'm only a poor widow.
I'm gonna pay the sum for you.
You would do that for me? Oh, I knew you weren't a greedy bastard like that Matteo.
Yeah, never mind.
Come back once you've taken care of that. I want to show you my gratitude.
But the light was a torment for Beliar. All that Innos created was destroyed by Beliar. Adonos saw that this way nothing could.
I'm asking your blessing.
Why should I give you my blessing, stranger?
I want to start an apprenticeship with one of the masters in the lower part of town.
Go with the blessing of Adonos, my son. And so he set himself between his brothers.
Hey, you!
I am Hakon, the weapons dealer. Every man should carry a weapon these days, especially when venturing outside of the city walls.
Tell me more about the area around the city.
It's gotten too dangerous out there, because of the bandits for one thing, and also on account of wild beasts. Even the animals don't seem to get enough to eat in these crappy times. They're venturing closer to the city all the time.
That's an open secret.
Do you know anything about the paladins?
Yes. Those guys are ruining my business. All you can buy in this entire town is a short sword at most. They've helped themselves to anything that's longer than 1.5 feet. In return, I now get to live in the hotel free of charge.
Where do you get your weapons from?
Harad the smith has been my supplier up to now. Now all he does is make stuff for the paladins. He works for those guys day and night like a madman, without pay. He thinks it's his duty. All I can offer you now is my remaining stock.
What do you know about the disappearances of the citizens of Khorinis?
I have seen many pass through the eastern city gate. Some of those who came I had never seen before in my life, and many of those who went out never came back. But what happened the other day was really quite strange. There was this fellow who came here. I think his name is Joe. He bragged that he would soon come into some serious money. He claimed that he knew how to get into one of the city towers where the militia keep their arms. I haven't seen him since, even though I used to bump into him around the same time every day. I reported this to the militia. I thought that maybe he had been caught and thrown into the dungeon, but Lord Andre had no idea what I was talking about. He didn't even know the fella.
These are bad times.
What do you know about the bandits?
What do I know about them? They robbed me on my way to the city, and I'm not the only one. They've been up to their tricks for quite a while. The militia tried to track them down, but without any success.
Do you know who in the militia took part in the search?
The fellow's name is Pablo. He and a few others went looking for the bandits, but they didn't find them.
Do you know where I can find Pablo?
He patrols around the city. You'll find him either at the Temple Square or in the lower part of town.
Where did they hold you up?
Near Akhil's farm. Just go out of the city gate from here and follow the road to the right. After a while, you'll get to a few steps. The bastards came from there. I bet they have their hideout back there in the woods.
I'll deal with it.
What? You want to take on the bandits? By yourself? You're quite a good fighter, huh?
How much is the matter worth to you?
That's a dangerous business. Well, it's all right with me. I'll pay you 100 gold pieces if you defeat the bandits.
Show me your wares.
He simply talks too much. Who says things like that? I can't take.
I'm Zurus, Master of Potions. Do you need an essence of healing or a magic elixir? Then you've come to the right place.
Go away. Don't tell me that.
Do you brew your own potions?
No, I either get them from the monastery or I buy them from Constantino, the alchemist. If you're interested in brewing potions, then talk to him. He needs an assistant, but he's too pig-headed to hire someone himself. He's just as stubborn as a mule. He always passes me when he goes out on the east gate to collect plants for his potions.
That's what I've always said.
Where exactly does Constantino gather his herbs?
He always goes through the eastern city gate here and then disappears into the wilderness to the left. He once told me that just about everything grows there, except for King Sorrel.
If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
Has Constantino ever told you where to find King Sorrel?
I once heard him say that the stuff grows near stone circles. Near Lobart's farm. That's a farm near the other gate. There's one of those stone circles. I think it's on a hill. It used to be a grave or something.
Honestly, I witnessed it myself.
You don't
Hey, you!
Why are you looking so doubtful?
I see that you bear the sign of the Ring of Water.
So, are you a member too?
What if I am?
Then I would tell you that Lares wants to be relieved from his post down at the harbor.
Fine. If that's so, I'll see to it that somebody deals with it.
I see.
He'd better shut up.
You're doing business with pirates?
What? Who told you that?
I talked to one of them. He seems to be waiting for you in his bay.
What can you do? These are hard times. Everybody has to look after his own.
That's not what my husband thinks.
Weren't you afraid of getting caught?
That could happen. You found out too, didn't you?
Really? How
But you'll
interesting.
keep your mouth shut, right?
Now that's typical.
What do you know about the pirates?
They live in a remote part of the island of Khorinis. It can only be reached with a cog or some other ship, as far as I know. The citizens of Khorinis fear them, quite rightly so, for they're nothing but a bunch of nasty cutthroats.
That's not what my husband...
Still, if you ask me, they're nowhere near as bad as the bandits.
Don't tell this to anyone.
What is your trading?
I mostly supply them with food, and for that, they give me the finest rum that's to be had in Khorinis.
Someone's gotta do the work.
I could take care of this deal for you.
That would be great. I cannot leave Khorinis at the moment. Here, take this package and tell Skip not to be so stingy with the rum this time.
That's typical.
It should be at least 3 bottles.
And he works all day, too.
That was all I wanted to know.
That's not what my husband thinks.
That's what I've always said.
What can I do for you? Are you seeking spiritual
I won't
comfort?
tell her a thing from now on.
Do you want to direct a prayer to our
tell this
Lord
to anyone.
Enos? Or donate some gold for his
These
church?
are bad times.
I need to talk to the paladins. Can you help me get to them?
Well, you need
That's what I've
access to the upper end of town. However, this is allowed only to citizens and the city guard.
That's what
And
I've
of course, to us, magicians of fire.
How can I become a fire magician?
You must join our order as a novice.
tell her a thing.
When you have served for a time, perhaps you will be accepted into the ranks of the magicians. However, the path to acceptance is long and full of work and study.
That's terrible.
And it's gonna get even worse.
Where do you come from?
I come from the monastery of the magicians, which lies in the mountains.
That's an open secret.
We accept everyone there who is pure of heart
Go away,
and
don't
feels
say
the
that.
desire to serve our almighty Lord Enos.
If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
Don't tell this to
Tell me about Enos.
Enos, our almighty Lord, is the light and the fire. He chooses humans to be his tool, giving them magic and laws. We act in his name. We administer justice according to his will and preach his word.
myself.
You
He'd
don't
better
say.
shut up.
What are you doing in town?
I have discussions with the paladins and support the citizens with my advice and with
These are
helpful
bad
words.
I witnessed it myself.
Particularly in these difficult times, it is our duty to be there for the people and to help the poor.
Someone's
Tell me more about the monastery.
We instruct our students in all forms of magic, but the arts of the magicians of fire consist of more than these alone. We are also well versed in the art of alchemy and in the creation of powerful runes. We also make excellent wine.
Really, how interesting.
I've come to get your blessing.
That's good. That's good. Then you will probably want to donate gold to the Holy Church of Enos, won't you?
Can't keep it.
Actually, I wanted your blessing so I can sign on as an apprentice in the lower part of town.
But my son, without a modest donation to the church, it is impossible for me to bless you. How else can I be certain of your good intentions toward the Holy Church of Enos?
So, how much does a donation usually run to here?
Well, That depends on what percentage you want to give, son. Let me see how much you brought.
That's not like that.
Well, you don't have much. Neither are you poor.
That's not what I heard.
10 gold pieces for Innos. We live modestly. I bless you in the name of Innos, for he is light and righteousness.
He can't keep anything to himself. And he works all day, too. Talks too much.
Hey, not so fast. Strolling about alone out here is dangerous. Where do you come from?
Who says things like that?
From one of the farms.
A farmer, eh? Then you shouldn't be walking along these dangerous paths all by yourself. Who knows who might be lying in wait for you?
What's so dangerous out here?
Many things. I bet you'll be yelling for my help after the next bend in the road.
Just assuming I would fall back on your help. How much would that cost me?
I am merely a humble servant of the king and would not enjoy fleecing a helpless little citizen of the realm. But you know, if you put it like that, I wouldn't object to a little financial backing to promote our future business relationship. 10 gold coins should do for starters. What do you think?
Why not? Here's your 10 coins.
Terrific. If you need my help, you know where to find me. But please do me a favor. Don't come to me with any trifles. I can't stand that, you hear?